Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing a Beseech Storm combo deck. Now this is a deck that has recently just got 2 challenge top 8s, so it's clearly a pretty solid deck and it's doing something a little bit different to other Storm decks, so let's have a look. So, we have the sort of traditional Echo of Eons plan, so we're using Entomb to get our Echo of Eons and we're going to spin it a few times using our Leyline of Diamond to get mana and just generating resources, whether they're Chrome Moxes, Mox Opals, Lotus Petals or whatever, generating more mana as we go, and then we can deliver something like a Tendrils of Agony kill that we're mainly going to be doing via the Beseech the Mirror, but then we also have this different plan of Goblin Charbelcher. So Goblin Charbelcher means that we don't get to run any lands in our deck, so we have to run the double face cards. So this means Fell the Profane and Boggart Trawler. These cards also pitch to our Chrome Mox, which is quite nice. So we have this backup plan for if we're only casting one spell a turn for some reason, let's say a Deafening Silence is in play, we can sometimes just get our Charbelcher in and win that way. We do obviously have Gaea's Will lines where we can just go on turn 1 and just recycle our graveyard. But yeah, this deck has been putting up some really interesting numbers actually. Getting 2 back-to-back challenge top 8s is kind of an interesting thing that makes me want to give it a whirl on the channel. Even though I'm not a Storm guy, this is quite a simplified Storm deck because we're not trying to do any Airs of Saga stuff or anything. We are just kind of going and doing our thing. Sideboard wise, what tools do we have? We've got Leyline of Anticipation. This means that we can go on turn 1 of our opponent's game on the play, so we can just go in their upkeep before they even get a land. We have Leyline of the Void for the graveyard decks that can race us like Oops All Spells, Veil of Summer to protect, and Force of Vigor to blow up scary permanents like Stony Silence and that sort of jazz. And that, lovely people, is the deck. I am no means any sort of Storm aficionado, but I will try my best on this one, so strap in, like and subscribe, and let's get storming. The lovely people over at 3 for 1 Trading are doing a spring sale from May 7th to May 12th. Get 5% off of all orders over $500 with free worldwide shipping by using the code SPRINGSALE25. Their support helps make this channel viable for me, so support them by clicking the link in the description of this video to browse their enormous inventory and find whatever you need for your Magic collection. Right, we are on the play here. So what do we have mana-wise? 1 mana, 2, 3, 4. So we have a turn 1 Belcher, or we can turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Belcher. That seems very solid to me. I think we go for the turn 1 Thoughtseize. Wait, no, so we have 1... Yeah, so we need to go on turn 2, right, anyway, because this is 2 mana. So yeah, maths. We're doing it. So yeah, Fell the Profane, Thoughtseize. Let's pay some life. We do look a little bit like an Oops All Spells deck, but we are not doing Oops All Spells today. Oh, they're Oops All Spells. They can't be angry at us. So what do we have here? 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana. So they can play an Undercity Informer right now. We could take away just their black mana. We have a kill next turn anyway. Alright, I'm going to take away their Lotus Petal. I think that's the hardest way that our opponent can try and win the game. So they still have the tools to get there. Okay, Agadim, Elvish Spirit Guide. So they're going to play the Undercity Informer. But that's fine, because we just killed them this turn. So we play this, we pay 3 life. 3 mana here. This is 4 mana. Goblin Charbelcher. Leyline of Diamond, point this at our opponent's face. Oh, we have to crack the diamond first. Alright, our opponent's scooping, they didn't want to see our deck. Alright, so Oops All Spells is exactly the sort of deck where we want the Leyline of the Void. What else do we want to do, though, is the question. Song of Creation might be a touch slow, because sometimes you have to do Song of Creation then pass, and I don't think that's a viable line for us a lot of the time. I think we want to keep our Storm Kill. Or this is really tough working out what we're supposed to board in to get these ley lines going. Maybe it's probably like baubles that go. So we can trim on a bauble and an opal. And then maybe another bauble. It's going to be a bit low on artifact count for the opal. Alright, we're going to give this a whirl. I thought our opponent was booing us because we were playing... Because it looked like we were playing Oops All Spells. Okay. This is a pretty good hand. I'll keep this and I'll begin with a ley line in play. So we can Thoughtseize our opponent. Once Upon a Time is our opponent's starting play. An Elvish Spirit Guide. So they got some mana. This might also just be a green card for Force of Vigor. Unmasked targeting us. What do they exile? Alright, so they can take our Boggart Trawler and just take us off of mana. They could take our Dark Ritual, so it's going to be harder to get up to Charbelcher. or they can take the Charbelcher. A Boggart Bog. Are we getting comboed out this turn as well to something else? 4 mana. Is our opponent playing a Charbelcher? A Balustrade Spy whilst we have a Leyline of the Void in play. So they're going to mill us, and then we're going to die to that because we don't have any recourse. Oh yeah. The whole we immediately die to Balustrade Spy is pretty funny. Okay. Maybe we want Veil of Summers instead of Leylines. Is that right? We'll try it this way. Because the Leyline doesn't actually stop our opponent from winning. Whereas the Veil of Summer might stop them. Because if they have the guy, they just target us and we die. What a funny game. I don't think this is good enough. Let's mulligan. Okay, so we have this 3 mana. So we get to spin the wheel here with mana floating. I keep that. We don't need the Beseech the Mirror here. Play this. Pay 3 life. So we get Dark Ritual. Get Lotus Petal out. Exile this. Entomb. Get Echo. Immediately cast the Echo. So how much more mana do we have here? We can go up to 4 mana and cast Beseech the Mirror. The Beseech the Mirror then gets us back this and this and this, which is not enough. But if we Beseech for an LED, that probably works. Okay. Oh, we need to cast with Bargain here, don't we? Do we need to cast with Bargain? It doesn't matter if we cast with Bargain, right? Because if we're getting an LED, we can just cast it. Is there anything better than LED we can get here? Storm count is 7. This would be 8, 9. Can we can't Beseech into Beseech, can we? But if we Beseech into Gaia's Will, play the Gaia's Will, we get back this, this, and this, which is enough to go, right? I believe. Actually, no, it isn't enough here, is it? We do have to get the Lion's Eye Diamond, right? Because we're 1 mana shy of getting everything back. So, what is the solution here? Do we just get the Lion's Eye Diamond and let's go for another spin? I think that is sadly the case we're looking at here. It's a little bit awkward because the Tendrils is 1 shy of being lethal. The Gaia's Will won't do enough for us. So this is getting the Echo of Eons down. And now where are we at? Not looking great. Not looking great at all. I guess we play a Lotus Petal out. We Thoughtseize our opponent's hand. And then we kind of stuck again. I'm sure there was a better line possibly available, but I don't know what it was. What have we got here? Just a bunch of stuff. We could take the Once Upon a Time is probably the best thing here. And then we'll pass. Academe, the Undercrypt, and passing. So I spun my wheels and we got nowhere. Okay, we can spin some more wheels if we wish. I will play this, pay 3 life. I will exile this. I'll play this Lion's Eye Diamond. And we'll go for another spin. I don't think it's worth spending the Veil of Summer mana here. We've managed to spin into nothing again. Oh dear, oh dear. This is not how we wanted this one to go. We're very close to having Lethal Storm before. Balustrade Spy, Once Upon a Time, Boggart Trawler. I guess we take the Spy here. And I guess we just pass. So we've got a decent chunk of mana here. But nothing to do with it. Yep, this is our opponent's first spell of the game. Alright, so they have Boggart Trawler coming down here, and they got this Lotus Petal. So they can play an Undercity Informer right now. Oh, they got Cabal Ritual they've drawn, so they just get to kill us this turn. They should target themselves, since they've seen the Veil of Summer now. Yeah, and then we're dead. They just do the combo. Yeah, a bit of a weird one. We got really unlucky with 2 of our wheels both being rubbish there. We were 1 storm away from winning. That is unfortunate. Let's go to round 2. I don't think this is a keeper, is it? That's mulligan. 1, 2, 3 mana. Still not up to 4 for the Charbelcher. Do we go lower and just try and wheel? Our deck is full of mana though, so we have a couple of redraws. I think I will keep this. And we'll bottom 1 Bauble. Elegant Parlour. I think we play the Lines I Diamond out in case of things like Thalia and stuff. Or if they go for like an early Archon of Cruelty, that makes our life a little bit more difficult. Okay, so we can kill our opponent next turn because we have 4 mana now. Guide of Souls. Alright. We get to do the thing here. Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Charbelcher. Let's pop our opponent in the face with a Charbelcher for a nice 52 damages. Alright. Not bad. So they're looking at like probably white prison-y pieces. This is one of the matchups where you probably want something like a Leyline of Anticipation. So you kind of go before our opponent gets to do anything. If that's the case, how are we sideboarding? Maybe the Song goes and then we just trim on some Baubles. Because the Baubles are pretty bad if we're trying to do Leyline of Anticipation stuff. Because we need to wait a turn for that. Alright, we'll try it with the ley lines and see if we can get our opponent on turn 0. Sort of, turn 0 anyway. Yeah. I will keep this. I'll play a Lotus Petal out. I'll play a Mox Opal. Play Lines I Diamond. I'll float black off this before we go off of Metalcraft here. Let's Echo. Mindbreak Trap is something that can get us here. We could have maybe checked. But I expect our opponent is on things like... what are we doing here now? I will exile this. Another diamond. We will Cabal Ritual. It's up to 3 mana. Do you want to Thoughtseize here, just in case? I think it's okay to do so. We don't care about any of these cards. Let's Echo. And this should be lethal. I think I can put this one together. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Cast with Bargain. It's Tendrils of Agony time. It's been a long time since I've killed somebody on turn 1 when it's their turn on the play. But feels like we're getting there. Mindbreak Trap can bust me up here. Alright. They have given in. So we got the turn 0 kill there. Pretty darn spicy. Let's get around 3. For the best Eternal experience this summer, check out Eternal Mania in Hasselt, Belgium from August 8th to 10th. Aside from hosting the European Legacy Masters, they have a whole host of other tournaments from team trios to old school and pre-modern. I will be there playing Legacy and hanging out as a special guest. This will also be the first event that I'll be giving out my own special Marit Lage tokens, so why not come down to enjoy an awesome weekend ran by one of the best TOs in Europe. Okay, we don't have any starting mana, that's the main problem here. If we have a single piece of mana, we get to go, but we can just Echo of Eons. If our opponent has counter magic, doing an Echo plan is pretty costly. Play a Mox Opal. I'll play this one out. If we draw a mana source, we don't have to worry about the Echo, so I'm just going to pass here. If we draw any artifact or mana source, we can just go for the Belcher. If that doesn't work, then we Echo, so we can get through counter magic. Aethervial, we're playing Merfolk. Could be Esper Vial as well. Tendrils of Agony, that is not the one, is it? I don't think we wheel yet. I think we wait another turn. So this means that Curse Catcher is a card that we have to be aware of. But again, if our opponent interacts with our spells, then we just Echo of Eons. And if they have 2 points of interaction, then we're going to lose, and that's fine. That's magic. Can't beat everything. Tide Shaper. This is an important turn. We've drawn the mana. Are we wheeling? I don't think we can wheel still. Although, if they have the guy that makes them sack any Merfolk for 4 spike, they've got to have a counter magic in there though, surely. What is this going to be? Curse Catcher? What is this? Oh, you can draw some cards. It's Fish on a Car. You pay X blue blue and draw X cards. And you put a +1/+1 card on each Merfolk you control. It's quite expensive to get to do anything, but it is kind of cool. And if you're trying to play Merfolk, you're not trying to play an optimal deck. You're trying to play something because you like it, you think it's cool. And that is A-okay with me. Okay. Just play a bunch of Lords. Empty your hand out. Make me feel safe, please. True Name Nemesis. 2 on the vial. 3 cards in hand. Alright, deck. I think it's Now or never. A Mishra's Bauble. Yes, please. A Dark Ritual. A Cabal Ritual. A Goblin Charbelcher. Oh, are we just winning? Sure, I'll take winning as an option. The guy that stifles things is 3 mana, so I don't think this works. Okay, we finished resolving our Charbelcher activation, and we just win the game. Alright, I guess I didn't have any counter magic. Counter magic deck probably means we want Veils. How are we supposed to sideboard for this? We could just do the things I've been doing the rest of the time because I don't really know what I'm doing. That's always a fine option, isn't it? The song, I guess we get rid of that one. Get rid of a couple of baubles and a mox. Just try and go like this. Sure, why not? No starting mana for this one. I think I'm going to mulligan. Like, it's already a mulligan with the guy's will in hand anyway. 1 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana. Belcher, hope for the best, I guess. Alright. It's a bit of an ugly hand, but I'll take it. Ether Vial. And Entomb. Let me Dark Ritual. Let me Cabal Ritual. This way we can save our starting mana here. I'm not expecting this to resolve, to be honest. But we are a Lion's Eye Diamond away from spinning a wheel and trying again with something else. Right, Force of Negation, pitching Mindspring Merfolk. 3 cards left in our opponent's hand. Oh, wait, I shouldn't yield, should I? If our opponent has a way of interacting on a Lotus Petal, we're going to want to be able to fire off an Entomb in response. Go Gadget, Lion's Eye Diamond, please. Veil of Summer. Well, you would have been interesting last turn. Obviously, we'd still need some mana to get where we're going. It's a 1 mana 1/1. Ooh, it's not a 1 mana 1/1 anymore. Got some non-zero pressure here. A Boggart Trawler. I'll play this. I'll pay the 3 life. We can Entomb here, and then if we draw any mana source, we can try and wheel. Silvergill Adept, sure. So we can Entomb in the combat step to shrink these guys. So this can kind of be like removing damage anyway, because they can sacrifice them to the Hexcatcher. A Wasteland. Not a lover of that one for us. Alright, Entomb. Let's try you out. Let's put this Echo in the bin. So we just need to find a Lion's Eye Diamond and then also resolve our Veil of Summer. A bit of a big ask, but we're not dead just yet, although we don't know what's in our opponent's hand. A Boggart Trawler. I guess we'll play this tapped. 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got one more turn to put things together. A Mox Opal. That is not switched on here. I guess we cast an Entomb and see if our opponent casts a blue spell, which allows us to fire off this Veil of Summer and draw a card. They did not, so we're dead. Okay. An awkward one. I think it's okay just to resubmit here. I do kind of want this Summer of Creation, but I'm not informed enough about how to sideboard with this deck to play it. This has no payoff, so we can mulligan this. Okay, we can keep this. So we have 1, 2, 3 mana here. We can just get rid of the Chrome Mox. So play this, pay 3 life, yes. Play the Mox, play the Petal, play the LED, and then we're going to go for a spin here. So float black. Does feel like we're just going to get Force of Will and lose here. Okay, there's the Force of Will. Maybe we're supposed to wait a turn so we can at least try the Beseech the Mirror first. Pitching Sink into Stupor. Okay. Tide Shaper. Are we going to lose to Merfolk? It's possible. And Entomb. We probably want to do this in our opponent's upkeep to play around Force of Negation specifically. So any artifact or land gets us into the wheel again. And hopefully with a fresh 7 we can get there. Although we had a couple of bad fresh 7s in our first round, so it's by no means guaranteed. Alright, Mishra's Bauble, in it comes. Blue, 1, whatever. Let's cast the Echo. I got a second Force of Will. Okay, I guess we are trying to Mishra's Bauble our way through now. Right, they've got a blank on top. It's going to be tough to come back from here. Tendrils of Agony in hand is a blank piece of cardboard. I think we're just going to get beaten to death by Merfolk. Sometimes a double Force of Will get you. Yep, there's that Ether we knew about. I'll play this out while it can't be counterspelled. Obviously not going to help us with generating Lethal Storm, but we're not really in a position to generate much Lethal Storm right now. We probably need to do something like Beseech the Mirror for Gaea's Will. That probably does what we need it to do. The Hexcatcher is a certain problem for us. So we have one turn here. I'm almost certainly going to die. So we Dark Ritual and we gain 4. That puts us to 9. So that does keep us alive for another turn. But then we have no resources. If we'd have kept this Lotus Petal back, we would have been able to do it for 1 more. This is only instants and sorceries, isn't it? No, it is non-creature spell. But if they sacrifice this, then maybe buys us some time. This does not feel like a winning line. Because now we have another turn where we can't draw anything at all, right? I'm not familiar enough with this deck to know if there's anything that gets us out of here, but it doesn't feel like there is. Is this any lore? Then we're dead right now anyway. Yeah, we're dead right now. Okay, we lost to Merfolk. Been a hot minute since that's happened, but it tends to happen more than you would think. Alright, let's go to round 4. Alright, this opener does nothing, so we're going to mulligan it. This doesn't have any starting mana, which is a bit of an issue for us. Then we have to go again. Alright, we can spin the wheel with leftover mana here. So we've got Trawler, Ritual. I guess we don't need the second Trawler here. We don't need the Entomb. Let's just do some Dark Ritual in here. We are a little bit stone cold to a Force of Will again. But we didn't get Force of Willed. We also didn't draw anything that matters. That's not great either. Let's just Thoughtseize our opponent and then we can decide if we're keeping these in hand or not. Stern Scalding. Type creature spell, we don't care about that. Sauron's Ransom is slow. Brain Surge can fix the context of their hand, so I guess we take the Brain Surge here. Our opponent's deck looks cooler than ours. Alright, another bad wheel. That's 3 bad wheels we've had this league already that might end up being like game-endingly bad wheels. What is Gloom Lake Verge? Activate only if you control an island or swamp. Huh. Cool. Echo of Eons. Alright, I'll play out a Mox Opal. I'll play out a Chrome Mox, imprinting an Elvish Spirit Guide. I will deploy a Lion's Eye Diamond. I will Dark Ritual. I will exile this. I will tap this for black mana as well. I'll cast an Echo of Eons. I'm going to leave 2 blue floating so we can front side an Echo that we draw. Okay, so we can Thoughtseize our opponent and then cast the Belcher, activate it, kill our opponent. That is a good turn. That is a much nicer wheel to have. So we don't care about Spell Snare here. We don't have the mana for anything apart from Brainstorm, so we'll take the Brainstorm. That way we know we're covered here. Might as well just play out our Petal and our LED. Cast our Belcher and send it to our opponent's face. Okay, we got there. There's some counter magic over there, which probably means we want Veil of Summer. That's a recurring theme, I think. Maybe some Baubles and an Opal go. And we just should try and do it without getting rid of the Song of Creation. Get rid of like an Entomb or something. Let's try like that. Okay, this is pretty solid. We can keep this. If we draw a black mana source, we can do some cool stuff. Otherwise, we're looking at like wheeling. The old Inquisition of Kozilek. That's a bit of a toughie. So they'd probably take the Dark Ritual, I would imagine, or the LED, actually. It's the LED, I think. Oh, they've taken the Veil of Summer. So probably have a grip full of counter magic, is what you're telling me. Let's play out this LED and see if this resolves. It does resolve. The way that they just snap that off makes me not want to just immediately fire off a wheel here, because then we'll be left with nothing and then we'll lose. Another LED. I think I'll leave this one in hand for now. So a mana source that can allow us to agree to Veil of Summer would be really handy. Sunken Ruins. Our opponent's got some interesting lands. They might be doing something weird with being like more towards a singleton deck. So there might be, there's that, is it Divining Witch, where you mill until you hit 2 cards of the same name or the card you named, whatever. A Barrow Goyf, sure, it's a big boy. We can make it smaller when we want to. Let's play it under the Lion's Eye Diamond. Barrow Goyf getting in. Grafdigger's Cage, okay, that obviously stops our wheelings. Okay, I think this is where we're looking at now, isn't it? Let's cast an Echo of Eons here. We can cast a second one if they counterspell this. Force of Negation, sure. Let's go for another one. And a Force of Will. Alright, so we have no permanents, no cards in hand. Our opponent has a 4/5 Barrow Goyf. I think I know whose shoes I would rather be in right now. The whole singleton vibe does seem to be getting there. I'll play this. Tapped. Our opponent's deck is probably doing something very cool. I just don't know what it is. Step through suggests that maybe they're looking at doing something with Thassa's Oracle. Stock up, sure. Dark Ritual, that's certainly one of the cards that we're looking at to get us out of this hole, because this is 2 pieces of additional mana instead of just 1 like a Petal would be. Alright, what are they going to put on top of their library here? A Force of Will, not a bad one, that's for sure. So they hit us a 4, and then they might grow it by 1 if this hits the right thing. Oh, yeah, they played the Mystic Sanctuary out, so they don't want to mill over their Force of Will. They should have attacked first, actually. A Charbelcher. So we're unlikely to have the mana to work this one, are we? Orcish Bowmasters is lethal. I will scoop it up. Okay. I guess we just go in again. 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana. This is a turn 1 kill, right? 1 mana, 2 mana, 3, 4. Yeah. There's a Force of Will check, but we're left with a Lion's Eye Diamond if they don't have the Force of Will. If they're a singleton deck, they might not have many Force of Wills in their deck. I think this is acceptable to send on turn 1. Here is a Goblin Charbelcher. And they're scooping it up. So if they do counter this, we have 4 Echoes and 4 Entombs that are pretty good. And we're also pretty close to doing a Beseech line as well. Alright, 4 rounds in, we are 2-2, and the ones we're losing, we are only just losing them. So that's pretty exciting. Let's go to the final round. Okay, what does this hand do? We have this, which goes into Dark Ritual, which then does nothing. But it doesn't need much to get better this hand. So another piece of mana gets us a Beseech the Mirror. But we are a little bit colder to Wasteland. I think I will keep this one. Will I? This Tendrils of Agony is so bad. Alright, let's mulligan. Maybe that's wrong, I don't know. 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana. Play this. Hope to draw more mana. Is that good? Doesn't seem great. But it might also be fine. I mean, we have to get rid of one of these cards, don't we? Yes, we get rid of the Bauble. Okay, let's get rid of the Bauble and just put a Belcher into play on turn 1. And let our opponent know we mean business. We do have 1 permanent piece of mana, which is not really the amount of permanent mana I would like here, but we'll take it. Cards on the table, opponent. This is what I have. Okay, we just need to draw a Dark Ritual or a Lion's Eye Diamond to kill our opponent, or we can draw mana over the course of 2 turns. We have 2 artifacts, so we're relatively likely to be able to turn on a... Well, we are very likely to turn on a Mox Opal, which means we have more hits for our mana pieces. Now, if our opponent's playing a Green Sun's Zenith deck and has like a main deck Collector Roof, then I guess we roll around in the dirt. Tropical Island. This is not a thing that's going to destroy our Chrome Mox. Delighted Halfling. Alright, so our opponent might be doing some Nadu nonsense. They might also just cast a Teferi next turn, which can bounce our Charbelcher and just invalidate our turn 1 here. Green Sun Zenith is the card we have to hit here, because this can go and get Collector Roof. Okay. So I think this is a ponder turn for our opponent. It's annoying for them that the Delighted Halfling only taps for colourless when it's not making legends. It's going to be hard for them to double spell this turn unless they drew. I guess they could ponder into like a green source or a white source. Like obviously they can play the nomads here as well, but they want to get like another halfling out, I reckon. Oh no, did they just draw a Teferi off the top? No, it was a Nadu. Okay, so our opponent kills us next turn. Alright, Lion's Eye Diamond or Dark Ritual. That's 8 draws in the deck. That's not the one. Now, our opponent will not necessarily kill us with this Nadu this turn. Here is the Nomads. They're going to draw a boatload of cards. But if our mana is uncounterable, like land drops and Elvish Spirit Guides, then maybe we get there. They might also not hit any counter spells here. This is obviously very bad news for us, but it's not unbeatable. A Green Sun Zenith. If they just go and get a Collect Roof, then I will scoop, but they might not have main deck Collect Roof. Feels like they do though, because they are tapping this quickly. X is 2. They're doing this because they know we'll scoop when we see it, and it can save us all some time. A Sidecat Cub. Okay. This does let them shred pretty hard, because any lands they find will then start triggering the rest of the stuff. But we'll just F6 this turn and hope we don't die. Not my favourite thing to sit through watching our opponent doing, but we did just kill an opponent on turn 1 in their turn upkeep earlier, so I can't really moan about what other people are doing today. I don't think they can make the Nadu lethal this turn. They could just keep stacking counters, but they need to get their triggers. But they don't need the Sidecat for the triggers, because they have the Nomads. So they should just be stacking them all on the thing that can attack this turn. But so far we haven't seen any counter magic, so things like Dark Ritual and Mox Opal are live. But they should be able to kill us the turn after this one. Another Green Sun Zenith. They're going to go and get themselves another Sidecat Cub. Let's find out. They are. So every land gets them 2 triggers. Right, so now they have a Force of Will. So we do need specifically uncounterable mana here. So a land or another Elvish Spirit Guide. And our opponent also gets to do this again in our upkeep. So we're going to be here for a while. Alright, have they had enough of just doing all the things? Alright, can I draw or are you going to immediately... Okay, so this does not do it. So this is 9 damage and we're dead. Okay. Didn't quite get there. So, a Nadu deck. Fun, fun, fun. I guess this is another Veil of Summer matchup. Let's get rid of some Baubles and Opal. I don't think we have the time to leverage a song, so we're going to take that out. Alright, we've basically just been doing the same sideboarding the whole time. Apart from that one time we boarded in the ley lines, which was clearly the correct call. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing with this deck. As you've probably guessed, I'm not a Storm Echo of Eons style player at all. Like I had a little run where I played my own little black-red Orcish Bowmasters Echo of Eons deck. That was quite fun, but that was sort of a hybrid of Stompy plus Echo of Eons. We did have like 1 Tendrils in there, we could do stuff, but this is a lot more all-in Beseech the Mirror style combo. This hand does nothing, so we're going to mulligan. Hand is not doing anything. We have some draws that make it a little bit better, but I think I just want to fish for something a bit tougher. This doesn't have any beginning mana. This seems like we're going to lose this matchup. That's the impression I'm getting right now. Okay, 1 mana. So we only get to keep 4 of these cards. I think this is good enough to keep, but it's pretty annoying. The Veil has to go here. And then is it the Echo? And then it's probably just random artifact. So we don't really have the ability to fire off this Beseech the Mirror just yet. But if we find like another Lotus Petal, we might be able to do some sort of Gaia's Will line. So we got Storm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So a Lotus Petal or Dark Ritual would give us a lethal line, provided our opponent doesn't have anything to interact with us. I will certainly take a Thoughtseize here though. Force of Negation, Endurance. I guess we take the Force of Negation here. I think it's easier for us to beat the other bits and pieces. We might have to do some pretty weird lines. They're going to go get... Well, they might get a Collect Roof here. I don't know. They might hold this Green Sun Zenith with Endurance. Our opponent has to make some choices. But we can beat... We don't have to go through the graveyard line. Now that we know that it's covered, we can go and get the Song of Creation. Well, 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 if it isn't Gaia's Will. Stinking up our hand over here. Oakley dokley. Okay, so we've got a Brainstorm with Fetch Land. So our opponent could assemble Nadu combo as early as next turn. Which is something we're very unlikely to beat because it is the best draw engine really in the game. It kind of goes over everything. Even goes over the One Ring. Probably doesn't go over the One Ring with like a bunch of keys and stuff. But the decks that run Nada also have Force of Will, so it feels a lot stronger when they're doing their thing. But obviously, we don't have anything like that. We're just trying to send it and hope for the best at this point. Okay. This looks like a Nadu. Do you have a friend to go with your Nadu? No friend. Okay. But next turn, we know they've got Green Sun Zenith, so they can at least shoot something up. A Mox Opal. So I guess we play a Mox Opal out. And we go Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, cast with Bargain. You got a counterspell? I'll scoot to a counterspell. I don't know if they have one, because the cards they have in hand that we saw earlier before they brainstormed was still pretty relevant and useful. Okay, did I keep the Song Creation in, or did I just make a horrible mistake by boarding it out this one time? It looks like I boarded it out. I've been doing that a lot. This is the one time I actually wanted it. How many lands we have in play? 1. I guess we just stick a Charbelcher. We know we can't do the graveyard. We've already seen they have graveyard hate. So we can't just Gaea as well. Not that we could anyway, because the Gaea will is in our hand. Yeah, there's the Song of Creation in our sideboard. Although I think the Charbelcher is a pretty fine thing to have in play right now. Because this gives us lines that could just win the game. Consign to memory. Okay, so I suspect these 2 cards might still be our opponent's 2 cards. They Green Sun for the cat. And then play a land. They could have a Collector Roof here. Okay, so there's the cat. They have a fetch land. I'm okay to concede this one. I don't really want to sit through this, and I doubt you lovely people out there do either. Okay, we kind of got a little bit of body there. And we finished with a 2-3. Now, we did, like, split some games. So, like, 2 of the rounds we lost were 1-2, and they were very close to going the other way. So I don't feel too bad about this one. As for the deck in general, it does feel very all-in. And, yes, we have things like Veil of Summer and stuff. But the question I have is, why play this over something like the Epic Storm, which has a lot more resilience to what people are doing? Because you have actual lands you get to play, and you can play them as fetch lands, so that your opponent can't waste them, so you're guaranteed to get the land on your turn, so you can have an additional land for the follow-up turn. And it does feel like we're cold to quite a lot of stuff. I don't think we're ever beating Collector Roof, whereas at least the Epic Storm can Burning Wish for an answer to it. That's just not something we're likely to do. We are supposed to be more of an all-in deck. You don't play Leyline of Anticipation in your sideboard unless you're trying to kill people on turn 1. Now, do I think I played this deck like 100% as well as I could have? No, definitely not. I think you could definitely play this deck better than how I played it today. But I still think there are some weaknesses. Like sometimes we were just really stuck for starting mana, and that definitely felt like an issue. I think maybe having some more starting mana would be worth considering. So it says here we've got 1 Fell the Profane. Maybe we could have some more of those over Elvish Spirit Guides, and that would help us out on that front. It just feels like a very difficult deck to play into decks with like solid permission. So we lost to Merfolk, for example, which is obviously not a tier 1 or 2 or even 3 deck really. It's pretty fringe. But, you know, they could just play some guys, have a couple of counter spells, and if we couldn't string together exactly Veil of Summer or like the right number of Thoughtseize at the right time, they're going to beat us because we're relatively cold to a Force of Will check. And if you want to play a deck that is Force of Will checky but more reliable and better than this, then I think Oops or Spells is just a better deck than this. But as one of our opponents said earlier on, if Oops gets banned in some sort of way, then this is something that you could pivot to that has similar-ish play patterns where we're like going on turn 1 and going big. But I do think we could probably improve this by having more access to black mana to begin with and then go from there. So yeah, I think the deck is alright. I can see how it managed to get some challenges. It is very powerful what it's doing. If you know what you're doing, you're going to get a few extra percentage points compared to what I had. And there's definitely a lot of people out there who love these sorts of Echo of Eons wheelie style decks. And they're not really my wheelhouse, pun intended. Alright, I hope you enjoy this one. I like to play stuff that's out of my comfort zone every now and then. We want to showcase the whole wonderful Legacy format. And I hope I do that for you. And I hope I didn't do anything too embarrassing trying to play this deck today. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. And goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo decks guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.